Across the endless expanse of the Arctic, where the sun sometimes refuses to rise and silence can feel thicker than stone, stories have always been more than entertainment. They are tools, warnings, maps for survival. And nowhere is this more true than in Inuit mythology, a realm of spirits as cold and sharp as the ice itself. Among these beings, some inspire respect, others awe. But Idlirvirissong inspires something far more complicated. She is a clown, and yet not funny. A judge, yet unpredictable. A trickster, yet deadly serious. Her presence in Inuit lore is unlike any other spirit. Grotesquely humorous, horrifyingly merciless, and deeply symbolic. She does not kill out of malice, but out of method, and the ritual she enforces is one of the most disturbing in all Arctic storytelling. This is the myth of Idlirvirissong, Ululurnang or Ululurnak, a being who embodies the razor-thin line between laughter and death. To understand Idlirvirissong, you must first understand the geography that gave birth to her. The Inuit world stretches across Greenland, Baffin Island, Nunavut, Alaska, northern Quebec, the Arctic coastline of Siberia. This is a land where survival is not guaranteed, even on a good day. Blizzards erase entire landscapes. Darkness settles for months at a time. Food can be scarce. Every mistake is paid in blood. And in such an unforgiving environment, emotions themselves can become a danger. Fear, it makes you careless. Laughter at the wrong moment could give away your position to a predator. Confusion could cost your life on the ice. Grief could cloud your judgment during a hunt. Control, discipline, and calm in the face of the unknown. These were not luxuries. They were essential. This is where Idlirvirissong's bizarre judgment ritual comes into play. But to get to that, we must first explore who or what she actually is. In most Inuit regions, Idlirvirissong is said to live in the sky, a realm associated with the afterlife, specifically the place where newly deceased souls travel on their way to the next world. But instead of being greeted by a comforting ancestor or a gentle guide, they encounter her. She appears almost comical at first glance. A sharply upturned nose, tattoo-like marks streaking across her face, a tunic that ends awkwardly above her knees, a pointed hood that makes her silhouette almost childlike, a gait exaggerated into grotesque angles. These elements evoke clown-like imagery, but with a sinister twist. In Inuit tradition, clowns were not meant to amuse children. They were social disruptors, tricksters, and sometimes teachers who used absurdity to highlight important truths. Idlirvirissong takes this traditional clown archetype and pushes it into the realm of horror. She is surrounded by dogs, but not loyal companions. These dogs are hungry, aggressive, entirely devoted to her. Not fully alive, but not entirely dead. Their existence revolves around one function: feeding on the flesh of souls who fail Idlirvirissong's test. Her home in the sky is not a place of comfort, but a courtroom disguised as madness. Idlirvirissong's myth varies across different Inuit groups, but most versions agree on one incredible detail. She is related to a major cosmic power. Depending on the region, she may be the sister of the sun's spirit, or the sister of Aningan, the moon's spirit, or an adversary of the solar deity, or a celestial foil whose existence balances cosmic harmony. This divine relationship elevates her above ordinary mythic creatures. She isn't a wandering ghost or minor demon. She is part of the family of celestial beings that maintain the universe. In Inuit cosmology, the sun and moon are often seen as siblings themselves. Their myth, which is too graphic to enter here in full detail, involves pursuit, violation, flight, and transformation, creating the eternal chase of day and night. Idlirvirissong's connection to them suggests something profound. She is not simply a monster. She is a cosmic regulator, a being who ensures the spiritual balance after death. In this sense, she is akin to a terrifying gatekeeper, preventing chaos from slipping into the next world. Her presence reminds the living that the universe is not governed by gentle hands. It is governed by forces of order and consequence. Idlirvirissong's name varies from region to region because Inuit knowledge is traditionally oral, passed down through storytelling and maintained by community memory. Each community shapes its myths according to local dialect, social structure, environmental conditions, historical experiences. Thus, her names include Idlirvirissong, Greenland, meaning entrails Caesar. This is perhaps the most explicit version of her identity, emphasizing her gruesome punishment method. Idlirvirissong/Idlirvirissong, Baffin Island. Similar spirits with hollow backs, distorted faces, ritual punishments, tests of self-control. These versions reveal that Idlirvirissong is not a singular figure, but an archetype, a repeated pattern of mythic symbolism across far northern cultures. The name may change, the face may change, but the lesson remains the same. Now we arrive at the centerpiece of her myth, the trial of uncontrollable laughter. Picture the scene. A person has died, leaving the harsh world below. Their spirit ascends, expecting guidance or peace, and instead finds a grotesque clown woman, chanting in a strange, rhythmic voice, dancing in bizarre, contorted movements, surrounded by growling dogs. In the cold emptiness of the sky, she sings, Kimitiyaka Nexusaktakaka. I'm looking for food for my dogs. The dance begins. Her aim is singular, to make the soul laugh, not from joy but from nervousness, fear, confusion, discomfort, the absurdity of the moment. Her ritual acts like a psychological pressure test. Can the soul remain calm in the face of the grotesque? Can it resist the primal urge to react? Can it maintain emotional discipline? If the soul laughs, even involuntarily, the punishment is swift and merciless. Dogs leap forward. The soul is split open. The entrails are placed on a ritual platter called a qengmerping. The dogs devour the remains. This is not meant to be a moral judgment about good and evil. It is a test of composure, a value deeply embedded in Inuit survival culture. Because in the Arctic, panic kills faster than cold. Fear can doom an entire hunting party. Laughter at the wrong time can disturb a seal hunt or offend a spirit. Emotional discipline is physically life-saving. Idlirvirissong enforces this truth beyond death. It is tempting to categorize Idlirvirissong as a villain. Her rituals are brutal. Her aesthetics are disturbing. Her methods are unforgiving. Yet Inuit mythology does not divide spirits into simple binaries of good and evil. Instead, spirits embody principles, forces meant to teach, regulate, or balance. Idlirvirissong's purpose is not cruelty for cruelty's sake. She is a test, a guardian, a cosmic filter, a symbolic reminder of emotional control, a spiritual enforcer of discipline. Those who laugh are not bad. They're simply not prepared for the journey ahead. Those who remain calm are not perfect. They're simply in harmony with the demands of the spirit world. Her ritual is a continuation of life's lessons into the afterlife. Her visual design is one of the most fascinating aspects of her myth. Idlirvirissong is a prototype of what modern audiences might call the horror clown. Let's break down the psychological components. 1. The grotesque face. Tattoo-like lines emphasize expression, exaggerating her expressions into something uncanny. 2. The upturned nose. Common in comedic characters, but recontextualized into unsettling territory. 3. The short tunic and pointed hood. Almost childish, a mockery of innocence, twisted into predatory absurdity. 4. The dogs. Not companions, but extensions of her will. Symbolic of hunger, judgment, and the inevitability of consequence. 5. The dance. Meant to provoke laughter, yet horrifying. A mixture of mockery and ritual function. This blend of comedy and terror taps into a universal human instinct. Fear of the uncanny, where something familiar becomes disturbingly wrong. The myth captures an ancient understanding of something modern psychologists emphasize. Humor and fear are intertwined. Laughter can be a stress response. Clowns exist at the boundary of comfort and unease. Idlirvirissong is thousands of years older than Pennywise, the Joker, or horror cinema, yet she embodies the same archetype. While Idlirvirissong is lesser known globally compared to other mythic clowns or trickster spirits, her influence has quietly seeped into modern culture, especially in horror media. The clearest parallel is the 2014 film Clown, where a man dons a cursed clown suit. The suit consumes him. He becomes a child-eating creature. Transformation is gradual and grotesque. The clown identity becomes a predatory spirit. While not a direct adaptation, key themes echo Idlirvirissong: the fusion of comedy and horror, the predatory ritual, the idea of consuming flesh, humour masquing danger, a creature tied to ancient myth. Similarly, modern horror clowns, from Stephen King's Pennywise to internet creepypastas, follow the same ancient pattern: grotesque humor, manipulative behavior, unpredictability, predatory rituals, symbolic punishment. Idlirvirissong stands as an early, culturally unique example of the clown as deathbringer trope. Perhaps the most compelling part of Idlirvirissong is that she is not a simple monster. She is a mirror. She reflects our fear of losing control, our anxiety of being judged, the tension between humor and vulnerability, the razor-thin line between safety and danger, the complexity of Inuit beliefs about death. Her myth shows that not every supernatural force needs to be benevolent to be meaningful. Sometimes, the universe's lessons arrive wearing a pointed hood and an unsettling grin. To understand why a spirit like Idlirvirissong exists at all, you must enter the mental and spiritual landscape of the Inuit. Unlike many Western mythologies, Inuit cosmology isn't concerned with rigid hierarchies of gods, saints, or demons. Instead, it is shaped by ecology, climate, survival strategies, ancestral memory, ritual relationships with animals, respect for the sea and sky. In this world, spirits are not distant ideals. They are practical embodiments of the challenges people face. The sea has a spirit. The moon has a spirit. The weather has a spirit. Animals have spirits. Families may have private, inherited guardian spirits. And then there are spirits of judgment and consequence, like Idlirvirissong. She is not a bringer of chaos. She is a reminder that chaos already exists in the environment, in emotions, in death itself. Her role is to ensure that the transition between life and afterlife is done correctly with discipline. In a world where storms kill entire communities, where seals might vanish from the ice for seasons, where a moment of panic can drown a hunter, self-control is not emotional maturity. It is the difference between life and death. Idlirvirissong embodies the tension between the absurdity of life and the seriousness of survival. Why does the test focus on laughter? Anthropologists have long analyzed Inuit humor practices. Across many communities, humor is used to defuse conflict, teach children boundaries, create social cohesion, shame or redirect inappropriate behavior, build emotional resilience. But this humor always exists within a framework of contextual control. There are moments when laughter is encouraged and moments when it could be destructive. For example, laughing during a hunt could alert animals. Laughing during a shamanic ritual could anger a spirit. Laughing during grief rites could offend ancestors. Laughing during a dangerous storm moment could cause panic or disrespect social norms. Thus, keeping composure is not repression. It is a survival skill honed over thousands of years. Idlirvirissong's dance exaggerates the test to extreme levels. Her movements are absurd. Her appearance is grotesque. Her tone is mocking. Her chant implies imminent violence. The soul is placed under psychological stress. If they laugh, they fail. But what is fascinating is that the failure point is not fear, it is humor. This suggests that, in Inuit worldview, humor is powerful, dangerous, and sacred. A force that must be respected. A force that can both heal and destroy. Idlirvirissong stands as a guardian of this delicate balance. In many versions of the myth, when a soul fails the test, Idlirvirissong splits him open. pulls out their intestines, places the entrails on a ritual plate, feeds them to her dogs. That platter has a name, qengmerping. Its inclusion is not random. In Inuit culture, tools are sacred. Even simple items carry weight in storytelling. A plate is not just a plate. It's a symbol of hospitality, provision, domestic life, community rituals, sharing of food during harsh winters. By using a qengmerping for something so violent, Idlirvirissong transforms an object associated with nourishment into one associated with judgment and punishment. It reinforces the idea that life and death are intertwined, that tools can nourish or destroy, and that the transition to the afterlife is not guaranteed. This detail also shows how Inuit myths embed their cosmology in daily objects, grounding spiritual principles in the tangible tools of survival. Idlirvirissong's connection to the sun or moon spirits elevates her myth further. In many Inuit stories, the sun represents vitality, warmth, and moral order. The moon, Aningan, represents cycles, hunting power, and cosmic rhythm. These celestial bodies are personified as siblings locked in a perpetual chase, a myth explaining day and night. Idlirvirissong, cast as a sister or kin to these celestial forces, becomes an intermediary entity. She is not as grand as the sun, nor as cosmic as the moon, yet she enforces a specific aspect of the universal order, the testing of souls. Her presence suggests a cosmology where the physical and the spiritual, the humorous and the terrifying, coexist without contradiction. She is the chaotic sibling, the foil, the one who plays the jokes no one asks for, and yet everyone needs. Her existence teaches light must be balanced by shadow. Order must be balanced by absurdity. Life must be balanced by the judgments of death. This cosmic family dynamic gives her myth depth beyond simple fear. Idlirvirissong is not alone in world mythology as a spirit who tests the dead. Comparisons can be drawn to 1. Egyptian mythology, Anubis and Amit. The heart of the deceased is weighed. Failure results in consumption by a devourer creature. 2. Buddhism, Yama the judge. The dead face karmic judgment in a frightening form. 3. Aztec myth, Mictlan trials. Souls must pass through challenges to reach the final afterlife. 4. Greek myth, judges of the underworld. Rhadamanthus, Minos, and Aeacus determine fate. But Idlirvirissong is strikingly different. She does not test morality, purity, virtue, sin, karma, past actions. She tests emotional control at the threshold of death. This is uniquely Inuit, a cultural emphasis on internal calm amid external chaos. And unlike Amit or other devourer spirits who consume out of judgment, Idlirvirissong's consumption isn't personal. Her dogs are simply hungry. Her test is procedural. She is not punishing evil. She is evaluating readiness. Different Inuit communities reshape Idlirvirissong's myth according to their environment. Greenland, Idlirvirissong. The name means entrail Caesar. This version is the most graphic, emphasizing the act of ripping open the body. Greenland's harsher landscapes, particularly in the north, may have sharpened the myth's intensity, reflecting the severity of life there. Baffin Island, Idlirvirissong/Idlirvirissong. These spirits share traits like hollow backs, strange dances, punitive rituals, trickster-like behaviors. Here, Idlirvirissong becomes part of a broader category of disturbing sky spirits who test the dead. Labrador Coast and Arctic Quebec. Stories vary, but often depict her dance as more comedic, highlighting the absurdity more than the violence. Siberian influences. Some similarities exist with Chukchi and Yupik clown shamans, who use humor as ritual disruption. This regional variation proves the myth's flexibility. It adapts to each community's worldview while maintaining the core elements. A clown-like appearance, a dog-based judgment ritual, a test of composure, an afterlife scenario. Modern psychology offers fascinating insights into why such a myth persists. 1. The fear-laughter response. Humans often laugh when afraid, overwhelmed, uncomfortable, uncertain, shocked. Neuroscience shows laughter can be a release valve for stress. Idlirvirissong weaponizes that phenomenon. 2. The uncanny clown effect. Clowns disturb us because they occupy a liminal space, neither fully human nor fully monstrous. This triggers a survival response rooted in pattern recognition. Idlirvirissong predates modern clowns, but embodies the same principle. 3. Ritualized emotional control. Teaching children not to panic in dangerous environments is crucial. Myths like hers embed this lesson deeply. 4. Fear-based memory encoding. Stories involving gore, laughter, and the afterlife leave strong impressions. In societies without writing, strong memory encoding is essential for preserving knowledge. Thus, Idlirvirissong is a psychological teacher, a mnemonic device, a metaphor for emotional discipline, a reflection of the environment's demands. During the 19th and early 20th centuries, missionary influence in the Arctic suppressed many traditional Inuit beliefs. Spirits like Idlirvirissong were labeled satanic, superstitious, pagan, dangerous. Missionaries aimed to replace indigenous cosmology with Christian frameworks, often threatening severe punishment for those who continued to share traditional stories. However, myths survive when they serve a purpose. And Idlirvirissong's purpose, teaching emotional mastery and preparing souls for the unknown, remained important. Elders continued to teach her story during long winters, at hunting camps, in whispered warnings, through artistic carvings, in songs, in cultural memory. Today, she is undergoing a revival. Artists, scholars, and storytellers are rediscovering her mythology, exploring how humor and horror intersect in indigenous Arctic spirituality. Her myth no longer hides. It returns with strength. While not widely known by name in mainstream culture, Idlirvirissong's archetype has influenced multiple genres. 1. The horror clown trope. She predates Pennywise, Art the Clown, Terrifier, Twisty from American Horror Story, slasher clowns, internet creepypasta clowns. The combination of humor and violence is thousands of years old. 2. Transformation horror, like in the movie Clown, 2014. The cursed suit turning a man into a predatory clown recalls her grotesque form, the idea of possession, the predatory ritual of feeding on flesh, the theme of humor masking danger. 3. Monster dance horror. Movies with creatures that lure victims through rhythmic, uncanny movement echo her ritual dance. 4. Ritual trial horror. Films where characters must maintain silence or composure. The Shallows, The Ring, A Quiet Place reflect her test of control logic. 5. Indigenous horror revival. There's growing global interest in indigenous mythology as a source for fresh horror storytelling, and Idlirvirissong may eventually become a major figure in this movement. Ultimately, Idlirvirissong's myth is not about gore or fear. It is about balance. Her test asks, can you face the bizarre without losing composure? Can you maintain dignity in chaos? Can you remain still when every instinct screams to react? This mirrors the challenges Inuit hunters face. The seal hole, the cracking ice, the unpredictable polar bear, the blinding storm, the spiritual presence in the dark. The myth transforms survival skills into cosmic law. The afterlife is not a place of eternal peace. It is another landscape with its own dangers and rules. And she is the first rule. Idlirvirissong is terrifying, but she is also strangely wise. She is a clown, but not a fool. She is a judge, but not moralistic. She is grotesque, but not evil. She is violent, but not cruel. She is absurd, but not meaningless. She forces us to confront the absurdity of existence, the thin line between laughter and terror, our lack of control, the rituals of death, the emotional strength required to face the unknown. Her myth remains relevant because these truths remain relevant. She is ancient, but she feels modern. She is Arctic, but she feels universal. She is a clown, but she feels like death's trickster guide. As the global fascination with mythology grows, Idlirvirissong stands out as a rare figure whose symbolism grows richer under analysis. She speaks to something deep in the human psyche. In a world overwhelmed by uncertainty, fear, and rapid change, she reminds us, the unknown will always dance before you, and your reaction determines your fate. She is the guardian of composure, the clown of the afterlife, the judge who laughs at fear, the test you don't expect but must endure. Idlirvirissong is not merely a story. She is a reflection of human resilience.